Great. Ashe Nox. This is one of the better mid-range aggressive decks in the format. Ashe is a very fantastic mid-range aggressive threat. When she attacks, she frostbites something to set its power to 0, the strongest thing each turn. She levels when you frostbitten 5 things. When she's leveled, she makes your things evasive, allowing you to close games out very quickly. Ashe's constant frostbites pair well with challenger units such as Glory Seeker, as well as turning Culling Strike into a kill almost anything on the board. That's their strongest unit. Riven is our second champion in this deck. She's just a good stat line for 3 mana with her Reforged tokens, allowing you to have Overwhelm and Quick Attack, both of which are good at pushing damage and keeping Ashe alive. At the very top end of the curve in this deck, we've got 3 copies of Daddy Pharaon, which is Noxus's best card at breaking sieges. This is easily the best card in your deck in the control matchups. One of the big upsides to playing Riven as opposed to more expensive champions like Sejuani is it gives you room to play more expensive top end like Captain Pharaon. Because this deck wants to be aggressively slanted, you can't really afford to play a bunch of 6-mana Sejuanis and a bunch of Captain Pharaons, and I think Pharaon is better than Sejuani overall. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it feels. Definitely the first time we did that deck tech today. Definitely the first time. Shifty eyes. So I know I said I've been conceding to this archetype, but I actually think these Freljord decks, the Ashe decks specifically, tend to have a pretty okay matchup here, so I think I'm going to play it out for good measure to hopefully be able to highlight that. Lilithset, thank you for the very generous tier 2 and for the 16 months with that. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Remember, tier 2 subs support me a little bit extra. So if there's a deck in the queue you'd like to see a little bit sooner, I'd be happy to bump something up by 10 points. So thank you for that higher level sub. Just take a peekaboo there and let me know in chat what you'd like to see sooner.
We each hold a world within.
This is the only deck I've played that has a good Lee Sin matchup. Yeah, I'd believe that. We have Frostbites to prevent getting combo killed early, and I think I want to just kill this because it gains them a bunch of life against us, which is annoying. And it has real closing power, which is nice. Hey, McFly. Thanks for being here as part of your dinner ritual. It's good to have you. Huh? How aggressive do I want to be here? Probably pretty aggressive, right? So you like, play this out here, we play this on their next turn, we play this Assessor, draw 2 on our 5. Hey, Windowhead, thanks for the sub gift. Ooh, they're playing, so they just discarded a Solari Priestess there. So there was a community Runeterra tournament over the weekend that a Lee Sin deck won that tournament, and one of the things the Lee Sin build that won that tournament was doing was it was playing a more mid-rangey configuration like this with tools like Solari.
For the teeth, though.
Oh, yikes.
Go, floaty crystal.
Paint your feelings.
And again, this is really kind of just highlighting the power of the opponent's archetype, and why Zoe made the Lee Sin deck so much better is like, my archetype is decent against actual factual Lee Sin, but it's still not amazing against this backup plan that they have. And like, we have to beat their backup plan before we're able to actually get into the nitty-gritty of things. Before we're able to actually make it to the Lee Sin part. I think we're just playing Assessor here and drawing 2 cards.
The right to call themselves Trifarian.
It's a decent pickup. Stand up for a bit. Old man legs are getting cramped.
What's in here?
Do I want to attack here? No, not really. I don't think I want to lose my Ashe. Sounded like one of my cords was hitting the wall when I was standing up. I think the plan here is just Glory Seeker into bank some mana for next turn. We'll go from there.
Zoe, I'm a serious artist now. I paint sparkle flies.
I mean, that's still a 5-1, right? Reckoning would be a good draw. Assuming they don't have to die. So 6, 11, 16. I can attempt to kill them this turn. I guess that assumes they don't have Hush. But Ashe levels with Frostbite attack. And then this makes something not be able to block. That means I'm no longer lethal, right? Alright, let's just get Hearthguard down here.
Swiftly now. Oh, you're interesting. Can I paint you?
We're not in danger of dying next turn currently. So feels like we're in an okay spot here. We have a decent number of blockers. I've got Ashe, I've got Flash Freeze and Troll Chant to make sure I don't die in combat next turn. And then we got this to draw a bunch more cards. So this is currently drawing 4. I didn't really want to save the 3-1, because once I play this, I'm going to want bench space. I also wanted to get freezes done for Ashe. Has value. Is Zoe close to getting leveled? She is.
What is gained when we return malevolence? Hi-ya!
I think counting on Crystal Arrow resolving against the Deny Nopify deck is probably a fool's errand.
There's still much to answer for.
Swiftly now.
We just do this and hope it's lethal.
Hold still.
No more hesitation.
Remember
Looking into the future, I see purple.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to not playing against these. Every time I play, like again, like the new Targon cards really. So you used to be able to attack the Lee Sin deck at least a little bit, but that's just a great example of its dynamic game plan is just too obnoxious. It's just like it sucks. It feels like I'm playing Magic the Gathering. The play patterns are really toxic and miserable. All right, so go hard. Definitely keeping Omen Hawk. Definitely mulliganing my 5-1 for 2. Don't mind if these get go hearted. Do mind if the 5-1 for 2 does. Gravity Zero, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Well, I was going to open attacks, but then we drew a 6-6 for 3, so sure.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
He's a very thick man. Hopefully we draw a Yeti next turn and get to go Trapper Yeti. Just nice, big and wide. Rats! Drew a 5-mana 8/8 instead. Never lucky.
Never lost a fair game. Or played one. Who says I don't share?
Joke debate.
Yeah, I'll be very disappointed in the Balance team if they decide to address Lee Sin and don't change Lee Sin and instead change Targon cards. I think at the core, the problem with Lee Sin is a play pattern issue, not a power level.
We fight for one Freljord. If I kill you, I don't fortunes.
Just keep smashing. Just keep smashing. Doot.
Where you going?
You pay first.
So next turn we get to go second Hearthguard into Enraged Yeti.
Win.
Just endless thick boys. We'll see if they're able to, they are getting into Ruination mana next turn. Ruination does at least save us from Twisted Fate leveling up though. Which would be nice. Yeah, don't ban Bridge from below. Okay, well they don't have Ruination mana up here, so I think we definitely just go Yeti into Assessor. All right, now I'm gonna be greedy and draw more cards.
Our strength is yours.
All strength is yours.
Can't be.
It can't be.
There's plenty of killing left.
All right, no Ruination mana this turn. They are getting ready to level Twisted Fate, though.
These stories were true.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this Assessor, chat? All right. Draw 5 Assessor versus Twisted Fate. Let's go.
I guess you can win them all.
Hey, thank you for the 1.5 years, Kevin. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
Blue as the Serpentine.
Line up.
Wellborn Moose, thank you for the absurdly generous tier 3 and for the 16 months at that. Remember to drop a deck you'd like to see in the deck submission form as a thank you for that support.
Today we fight as one.
There's a chance that with packing our bags, my opponent's still going to be in a good spot this game. They've had plenty of chump blockers. They're going to get to trade a bunch of stuff off here. Yep, they get to gold card that. Is Troll Chant sick here? I think I need to save Troll Chant to save something from a copy of, I think I need Troll Chant to save something from Peck. That's a great draw.
Be nothing left when I'm done.
Now this could be an instance where, because pack now costs 5, they don't have the ability to play more stuff and pack us this turn, which would be great. That means we can redevelop our board. Pretty happy with the current board state. Just gonna go ahead and pass back here, I think. Hey, Lightning Bolt, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Good morning. They're debating on if they want to pull the trigger on pack or if they want to continue holding me hostage with it. As expected, the opponent's archetype, its play rate went down after the nerf, but its win rate actually remained quite high. This is, yeah, right? Like, so I think we just let this, we say, okay, this happens. I actually think it's wrong for my opponent to play this here. I think they're supposed to continue holding me hostage with it. It's a little bit harder to do with 5 mana, but in this instance, I think it still would have been right.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill. Victory requires a sharp blade.
The trap is set.
I've whipped out something special.
All right, you sweat my board, I'll sweep yours. They notably don't have Ruination mana available. They only have 8 That is a quick attack fragment. Sure.
Gotta go with the flow.
Our board clear didn't come with 6 damage. You're not wrong. It's enough to get it done with our thick ladies and gentlemen here, though.
I know what I must do.
Stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, Hearthguard decks are sweet. Angry Lambton. Hey, Bing Bong Bro. Bing Bong, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Opponent playing the little bit bigger variation here with Sajani as opposed to Riven. I'm mulligan the Reckoning here. Their deck tends to be full of really thick units as well, so it's not stellar. Got a 2, 3, 5 here. Not terrible. We're attacking on odds, so having a 3 and a 5 is nice. Damn it, Reckoning. Super happy to take a pass here, I think. Am I? Nah, I'm a liar. I'll play a 5-1. And then if they pass again, I'm gonna open attacks for 5.
I'll cut them apart.
Sometimes these decks play Death Sands. Usually it's just Culling Strike though, like we're playing. If we are super lucky, we will draw the Yeti next turn, so this puts the Yeti in the top 3 cards of the deck. So if we get to go this plus Yeti this turn, we'll be in an absurd spot. This stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience.
Nothing can stop me. It can't be. What did he catch?
Huh? I'm passing. They want to burn a mana here, that's fine for me. If they want to trade freezes to save their can't block thing, that's fine with me. Yeah, it could be worth posting on occasion, Rin. Also, it's tough to make, like the post I made last night is a pretty low effort post. It took me less than an hour to put together. I've thought about doing some formal Runeterra written content, but writing real articles is a pretty big time commitment. Like when I was doing Magic articles as part of my full-time content before I stopped doing that, it regularly took me I don't know, what's a good number? It took me 4+ hours to write a lot of articles.
Joke debate.
If I wasn't just phoning it in. Usually I would rather just not make content than phone it in.
Face me.
Yeah, there's some growth promotion potential there though too, Lambton. Something that a lot of people I don't think know too. A lot of people know that I originally got some of my notoriety streaming from having experience playing Magic professionally, but in addition to playing Magic at a high level, I also got my start writing Magic articles just by posting things on Reddit like that. In a pretty good spot here. I get to play this turn.
Is nothing.
Okay, and now with that, we Ice Veil Archer this, so we have good attacks next turn, right? Sure.
Remember me.
The stories were true.
Technically have lethal on opens here. Yeah, with Pharaon, I'm super into attacking and pushing damage here.
Prove your worth.
Like, I assume they have some mix of frostbites here to not be dead, but even just pushing 3 damage here is fine. All they have is Troll Chant? That's excellent. This game should be a wrap then.
I will unite the
If I've learned anything from Reddit, posting low effort content is how you get people over. I mean, that's true to be fair. Like, a big part of why there's pushback on the way I manage my channel here is because I expect nuance and detail. Low effort, these are sweet deck lists. Including the pictures, I think was key to that thing being well received. Because like, when you're just idly scrolling, being able to like open pictures and not look at names of cards, actually look at the cards themselves, makes it much easier to parse. Again, just think Pharaon is a much better piece of top end than Sejani. Comes down in, crushes people out. First learned to do the SCG tour. Yep. Yeah, the tour is where I got my start for sure. It's funny. My buddy Matt and I would often joke that traveling to play on the SCG tour was kind of my unpaid internship for making streaming a career. So definitely would not have been able to transition into what I do here without the small amount of notoriety for that. And while I did make some money playing in those tournaments doing well, like when you factor in travel costs, it was basically a wash. Flying and driving around the country is not cheap. Oh, listen, the trader. I'm definitely mulliganing this piece at top end. Culling Strike's probably worth keeping against their Twisted Fate deck. Yeah, and I mean, like, that one there, G-Money Boats, is a great example of how card games, and even, it's not even just card games, but, like, tournaments in general don't reward consistency, right? Like, that tournament you referenced that I lost in the finals of a, like, 1,200 player tournament, and the difference between first and second in prize money was, like, 2 months of mortgage payments. Like, even looking at the Runeterra esports structure stuff, right? Like, it's incredibly top-heavy. That's just how these types of events do.
break the ties that bind.
Whenever I see people talking about them wanting to make consistent money and reward consistency for tournament play, it always makes me wonder, like, hey, have you actually, like, looked at how tournaments work? Because tournaments are basically never structured to reward consistency. They're always structured to reward spiking and getting lucky into first. Super Lee, thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Like, to give a comparison, like, or even just to look at Runeterra, right? Like, if you top 8 4 of the seasonal tournaments, you'll have less cash money than getting first one time. So getting first one time from a profit perspective is better than consistently getting top 8. And again, that's not unique to Runeterra. You look at Magic, you look at Hearthstone, you look at even esports stuff like League of Legends and things like that. Like, the only reason players can play those other games professionally is because they have salaries. We just open attacks here, so both these can attack in, get the Frostbite on here, and then we'll play out this Hearthguard. That's why splitting in Magic is so common. As someone who has top-8'd double-digit 100 to 1,000 player Magic tournaments, splitting is like a coin flip at best. It doesn't happen that frequently. It almost never happens at top 8. It occasionally would happen at top 4. So streaming / YouTube, the only real way of consistently making money playing a card game. I mean, outside of poker, and poker's a different beast entirely because there's so much risk involved in how much money you have to put into it. No, not throwing the match, Dr. Mr. Punny, but like, for example, in the top 8s of tournaments, they would ask all 8 players, do you want to play for the prize money as structured, or do you want to split the total prize pool evenly among the 8 of you? And then if at least one person says no, there's no split and you play. And then they ask again at top 4, and they ask again at top 8. Is how it would work out. What ratio do you prefer? I mean, I'm not saying I want the ratios to change. I'm just describing the reality of what the ratios are currently. So me describing that consistency and not rewarding consistency isn't me saying, hey, you need to reward consistency more. It's just pointing out the reality of what the situation is. You can make various arguments that the way it's structured is inherently good or bad. It's interesting, I always thought splits were player organized. It depended. So like Wizards Grand Prix, Wizards wouldn't orchestrate splits, but Star City Games tournaments and almost all smaller tournaments, the tournament organizer would offer to manage a split. And it's nice when the tournament organizer manages a split, because if you do a personal split with an opponent, you have to take into account the money that you're going to have to pay in taxes. So like I done personal splits with opponents where like my opponent and I like we're friends and we get paired in the top 8 and we're like there's no split for all of the top 8, but my buddy and I would be like, okay, you want to split our prize money evenly for this top 8? And if they'd agree, you'd have to take out, okay, well 30% of who's ever getting more money needs to account for taxes. I think I'm just gonna not save myself a point of damage and leave this with extra health. Seems ideal. Well, so like, and that consistency type thing, Dr. Mr. Punny, is part of why both Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering moved to having esports, or moved to having leagues for their top players, right? Because the only way you can really realistically reward consistency with those top-heavy prizes is having people who have actual salaries playing your game, which is why things like the MPL was created for Magic. All right, well, we're going to try and kill them now.
The time is right. Strike now. Swiftly now.
It's been so long since I've played stuff competitively, and I think, you know, a lot of people who found me through Runeterra don't know, but like, I have a lot of experience understanding competitive structures. I played a ton of it from my Magic background, and past that, I have a background in math, so like, from the numbers perspective, I'm good at parsing and understanding that type of thing too.
The war is over.
So that's actually not the case, Best Ryan. So while flatter prize pools are more enticing to players who grind endlessly and play in a ton of events, the majority of people that play in large tournaments, especially for Magic, they're casual players, and a big first place prize, the idea that you could win this whole tournament and get $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 or $100,000, whatever that big first place prize is, that attracts more total players than the idea of, well, you can get $1,000 if you top 8, and its consistency will be rewarded, because if you top 8 a bunch, you'll get $1,000 a bunch. The consistency appeal only appeals to a very small minority of players. Well, Culling Strike sounds great against the Team of Israel deck, right? Yeah, it's not by accident that every esport in existence uses a top-heavy price pool. That's not coincidence. No, I mean, best Ryan ever, the ideal situation is the one that brings in the most players. I do not do Twitch predictions, no. I don't think it's fair to criticize Magic for its price structure, Silence, because like I said, that's not a Magic thing, that's a generic esports thing.
Sharpen the blades, secure the kill.
it's not even just spectators. So something that I think enough people don't think about. So we call esports esports. The way esports makes money is very different than the way traditional sporting events make money. So you need to understand that esports make money by encouraging players to use a product. So esports makes money by encouraging you all at home to play more Runeterra, because Runeterra makes Riot Games money when people play it. Whereas baseball and football, those games aren't encouraging people to go play baseball and football, right? I think I actually want to kill this to play around a troll chant on this. So the incentives for what esports are trying to do versus what traditional sports are trying to, and the way in which they're going to do it, are very, very different. Still waiting for the next baseball patch. This version is boring. Yes, selling merchandise, selling ad space is a big deal. Ad space exists in esports too, but to a lesser degree.
Runaway bike!
But here's the thing, the best Ryan ever. The pros making consistent money, like, that likely doesn't make, here's the reality. There's always going to be another person who wants to play a ton of the video game and wants to play it at the high level. So the reality is that there's not an incentive for them to pay consistency there, especially in a card game where anybody can do well consistently, right? It's also important to note card games are fundamentally different than both traditional sports and esports like League of Legends and Valorant and stuff like that, because of the high variance element in Runeterra. If you found the 20 best Runeterra players and you took the 2 or 3 best League of Legends teams and you had those groups of people play their games against random people playing their games, the professional League of Legends teams would slaughter random people basically every time, and the best Runeterra players would lose a good chunk of their games still. Because being a good card game player means that you're winning, 65-70% of your matches. Is what the reality is.
Joke debate.
A chill in the air.
And I had a Twitter thread about this over the weekend where I posted some ideas online, but basically for that reason, I think card game esports are much better suited for selling a dream than they are selling the idea that people want to come watch these best players play. And that's not to downplay that certain people are better at card games than others, because certainly there are players that are objectively much better than me and most of Twitch chat and most people watching. But those players who are objectively better aren't going to win against those better players even 80% of the time. I'm gonna full Teemo here before he loads my deck up. Yeah, I agree with that, Hoosier. And that was the point of my thread. I don't think a pro scene is something that's super beneficial to card games, more so than having open entry tournaments and pushing the idea that, hey, anybody can play our game and do well and enjoy it and have fun. I don't even think that specific pros do that though, Twin. I think the idea of tournaments does that better than specific brands do. They're billboards, but I think it's often overstated how important the specific person on that billboard is, if that makes sense. All right, so we can do, they have some freezes in their deck. So if they freeze us here, I'm gonna be a little sad. But I'm gonna go in on this Yeti and then blade my Riven and attack them here.
I will live.
We'll see if they're playing Harsh Winds. They definitely could be. They're an Ezreal deck. Harsh Winds double levels Ezreal. Yeah, I just think that that's objectively true, Hyde. I think people that make content in general for card games are better at promoting those card games, are more valuable in terms of promotion than random tournament players. And that is part of why I transitioned. And when there's people out there that say, well, Jeff, you're biased in that opinion because you're a content creator. But I'm not biased in that, because having that opinion is why I transitioned from being a competitive tournament player to being a content creator. I intentionally made that change because I think there's more value added from this angle of it, approaching it. So I had the option to do either, and I chose this one because of my opinion.
The War Mother will unite us all.
Rude. So there's a good chance they're a Feel the Rush deck, so I think I'm just opening attacks here to start.
Beg your pardon?
Would a mushroom help?
That's why they did that.
Not a meddler. Would a mushroom help? I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
That means they're not Feel the Rushing us this turn, which is great. Hey, Infernflow, thanks for the tip. I really appreciate that. For Misfortune, Zoe, build round. Sounds great. Will almost assuredly be something aggressive. Get that added to the queue after we're done today. There's a lot of pump gaps in our deck. And if they...
No more hesitation.
Would a mushroom help? I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
Do I want to freeze this to save Riven? I think I do. I'm not dead to Feel the Rush next turn because I get to play Ice Veil Archer. It's better to hold that Flash Fleas and River and die though if I'm expecting Feel the Rush. Wow, it's been a long time, and what a great way to start 2021, 3 years. Keep it up, and let's make 2021 great. God, Baron Von YOLO Swag, thank you for the 3 years, and thank you for the very generous tier 3. Welcome back, thanks for keeping me around.
Faster than my arrow?
I think not.
So cold.
Okay, we're gonna do this in open attacks, for sure.
Not and ready.
Yeah, I agree with that, Obtuse Hobbit. As someone who was a regular name in those events, I agree that the most exciting part of watching those open tournaments was almost always the new people. It's sweet to see your old favorites, but the idea that like anybody could show up and do well is just always so excellent. And I really hope Riot chooses to do large open entry tournaments using their tournament client at some point when they think it's ready. There's a ton of ways they could do them. They could structure them like Grand Prix, where you pay an entry fee and the tournament pays out cash. they could structure them so they're free or very cheap, and they pay out coins and in-game prizes and cosmetics, but link you into other bigger tournaments like the seasonal tournaments. There's a ton of ways they could structure their organized play. I'm gonna mulligan these two, keep these with an aggressive curve here against the Lucian Hecarim deck. I think we're definitely the beatdown. Runeterra hoots when? As soon as we have a reasonable client to do it in.
Need just a moment.
So Riot has said at some point they would like to expand their tournament client so third parties can use it. And if they get to that point, I will definitely run tournaments through the client. I'm gonna pass here in case they have a way to kill my stuff. Yep. Yeah, I agree, Bing Bong Bro. I think a great way to do it would be like have a tournament that pays out coins and cosmetics, and then those tournaments qualify you for tournaments that pay cash. It'd be a really sweet way to have kind of an organic series. Is it crazy to... Honestly, I think I'm going to Ice Veil Archer here, and then we'll Troll Chant to save the other one, and then we'll open attacks for 8, right? Yeah, I think that's the play. What's the advantage of having a team on Twitch? Money. So like, for example, I have that F2K banner scrolling in my corner, and they literally just pay me money based on how much I'm watched on Twitch each month, based on having that banner in the corner of my screen. They technically connect me with like other services and stuff to help me, what's the word I'm searching for? To help me get like other sponsorships and advertising deals. Like sometimes they bring me sponsored opportunities outside of that. But like at the base level, if I never use anything else from Runeterra, they pay me X dollars per month based on how much I get watched on Twitch. For the adverts that scroll in the corner there.
Our strength is yours. Don't get in my way.
Default Protocol, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, the networking part of it is pretty whatever. But like, it's a no-brainer to work with an esports org as a content creator if you have the opportunity to, because it's like literally just free extra money to help make this my job. I literally do everything I'd be doing anyways, but with this ticker in the corner. Well, that's rude. They probably should have saved their second elusive if they were going to rally, right? They missed a shark attack here, technically. Am I supposed to open attacks here? I think I'm supposed to open attacks here.
Go ahead. Scare me.
Could Riot hire me so we don't have ads in the stream? Riot could definitely buy out the adverts on my stream. I don't know why they would do that, but that, I mean, I wouldn't. I enjoy money. The adverts on my stream pay less than you think they do. I've talked about the financial aspect of my job before on stream, but like ad revenue overall, like the team banners and Twitch ads and YouTube ads, like they equate for like 10% of my income, if that, month to month. It varies month to month a lot in this industry, but about 10% is accurate. I have 10 mana here, so this is a great draw. I get to drop Ashe, and then when they try and hook her with this, we get to Harsh Winds these two.
The journey ahead is long.
Yeah, I think we're dead here. Hecarim into Hecarim spell is real rough.
Stay back.
Oh, right. This is gonna... I'm gonna do this and this. And then they technically aren't rallying. Lucian levels, but they don't rally. So we're dead to like a glimpse here. Mika Boo, thank you for the quarter of a year. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for the friend support.
Sleep when they're dead.
Harsh Winds is lethal. We have a second copy of that. Well, this is technically Hearthstone lethal, right? Assuming... Oh, no, she's not leveled yet. Awkward. Yeah, I think we're dead. This was close, but we ultimately came up a little bit short. Trifarian, look for a Frostbite. Yeah, that technically does it, right? If I hit a Brittle Steel
Line up.
or a Flash Freeze. That one doesn't do it. Yeah, if we would have hit a Frostbite here, we technically could have had lethal, but that would have stopped us. So close game, but ultimately ended up a little bit too slow.
Forgive me, Avarosa.
Forgive me, Avarosa. Didn't they have to block with Heck if we attacked? They did. I think we were still dead on the backswing, right? With any other unit there? What's my highest rank? We've been masters before. If you're new to the channel, no mistake, a majority of what we play on this stream are viewer-submitted decks, so... While we play some good decks on occasion like this one, we also play a lot of, what's the polite way to say a deck is terrible? Experimental decks that are untested and unproven. Lunasec DNB, so this is definitely not what I would refer to as a try-hard stream. We focus on having fun and playing a range of things here, more so than just trying to win at any cost. Blocking this with the Omen Hawk will be nice here, because it means we'll be able to Brittle Steel this, because it'll be down to 3 health. Runeterra has got a lot of excellent try-hard streamers, so... I don't try and inject myself into that space.
I will unite the Freljord.
And I get set up for a pretty good Trifarian Assessor here, especially with this, Huh? Did I just let this happen? They're like trading a Reckoning for my 3/3? I think that's fine, right? Okay, deal. Dunks HS. Thanks for the follow and welcome to Runeterra. Good to see folks from other card games making their way over.
Everything's in place.
Runeterra is the best card game on the market, but I'm also pretty biased in that opinion. This is a much better use of Brittle Steel. It would fizzle the Reckoning. This is maybe asking for trouble if they have another pump spell here. But if they have another pump spell, we're going to trade anyways, so I think that's fine. And I get to play Riven out now and Forge here, which is decent. if we forge the +2 attack blade, I think I give her attack and then play Assessor, draw 3. Now that's got to be wrong, right? I'd much rather Assessor after I play this. Pretty easy open attacks here, I think.
Stand together.
Moving into sight.
I played Eternal, MTG, Hearthstone, Runeterra, and a bunch of others. Runeterra is hands down the most fun I've had, with Eternal being a solid runner-up. Yeah. Feel the same. And honestly, the toughest part about a lot of those other games at this point, even other games like Mythgard, where I think Mythgard would probably be my number 2 card game after Runeterra, and even that's kind of hard to stomach for me in a world where I know the economy of it is the words I'm fumbling to say here. Hopefully they don't open attack so I can draw 3 here.
Only the finest serve.
Fair.
Line up.
Line up.
I stand for Noxus.
This Troll Chance about to be real good.
You're mine.
Move out.
It must be done.
I think I say no blocks here because I want to have maximum card draw for this next turn. Looking to fade Brothers Bond here. Brothers Bond will let them give these 2 +2/+2 and kill these.
Remember me. I failed.
Only the finest serve.
Was this a good turn? If so, why? Please explain. Yes, up. Yeah, getting full sets in Mythgard Snugglebear is more expensive than getting full sets in Runeterra, and it's not close. For those that are new to the channel, I find Zoe Lee Sin incredibly toxic and unfun to play against, so I like to do this. Like I mentioned last match, we play games for fun here, so if I don't find particular decks fun to play against, we move on from them. Zoe Lee Sin's the only deck in the current format I'm conceding to at the moment. We play against pretty much everything else. Runeterra is pretty good on average about having decks that generate good games on average. Lee Sin's kind of the exception to that rule at the moment, in my opinion. We're gonna mulligan the rest of these, looking for cheaper things to curve out into. I definitely didn't see your message, Ashe World, where you can find details on the end of season tournament. You can go to Runeterra's news site. Should have info up there. I believe there's information in the client too if you look at the announcement section. Lee Zoe is what I refer to as a go fish deck. There are very specific cards you need to play generally to play into them and play around them. And when you don't have them, you end up very beaten up and sad. And frostbites are one of those things that can be useful in those situations. But even then, I just don't. Even when I'm beating Lee Sin Zoe, I don't feel like the games are interesting. So I just skip over it. Because life is short and you should play games for fun. So if you're not having fun, adjust how you're playing.
Time for a true display of skill.
I think we definitely just pull Ezreal here, right? And then we put another Yeti in our deck. No blocks on this, I think. Take our hit, play our trapper.
Choke the bait.
Riven is the best champion in the game. I think that's probably the case. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him get adjusted in the next patch. I think if you were like, Jeff, Draven's gonna get adjusted in the next balance patch, my response would be, yeah, that's probably fine. It's definitely true according to Draven. That's accurate.
I will unite the Freljord.
So they put damage on here, I'm assuming, to hit it with something this turn. We're gonna have pretty good attacks with these two here still, though. Setting this attack to 0. Need to put them on the back foot here. We basically just need to keep our life total high enough that we can kill them with these Pharaons before they can kill us with their own. Even if they have something like Thermo Beam here to kill Ashe, we're still attacking for 6, which is a pretty good amount of pressure. Been using your Nightmare Child deck from the other day, and it's a new favorite of mine. That's awesome to hear, Mount Everett. I'm a sucker for a good Zoe deck, and that one was definitely a sweet build.
Got an axe with your name on it.
I'm not sure if you want this information, but there's a Draven skin in League of Legends, which is just Draven with a comically oversized Bascon. That's great. Hey, thanks for the sub gift, Socio Penguin. I appreciate that.
What did you catch?
What did you catch?
That I am superior life form.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
Safety disengaged.
Anything we can play this turn. That's actually pretty great. Huh? I think I want to play this before I attack. I could be right to just open here. But I get to do this, and we get to Harsh Winds inside of combat here, and then we get to Captain Pharaoh next turn. This does give them the opportunity to set up like Static Shock plus Ravenous Block, or Static Shock plus Scorched Earth. Technically gives them a chance to do that too.
Face me.
We're definitely Harsh Windsing this turn just to spend my mana, basically.
Pitiful.
See if they have a Mystic Shot to kill this. Feel like they would have done that proactively. They could have been holding it to play around a Troll Chant though. With this combat resolves like this, with these Pharaons in our hand, this game should be a lock. Even with them taking no damage, just losing their board like this is huge. It gets an axe. I think that's worthwhile. I think getting an axe out of their hand is good there. Like, takes the axe plus another resource. I wasn't thinking about that, but I think even if I think about it, that's still the right play. And this Daddy Pharaon is conveniently a 9/9, so which means even if they have a daddy of their own, our daddy's bigger than their daddy, chat. Who's your daddy, chat? Is Pharaon your daddy? You can break my siege whenever you want, Mr. Pharaon. Give him the juice box. Oh, I don't have a juice box in here. That's fine. This one works well. All right, but what about second Pharaons? All right, chat. I think we're gonna be a one-trick pony for the remainder of the game here. This is why you should put 3 Daddy Pharaons in your Ashe deck, by the way, chat. It's actually just once you hit 8 mana, it's actually just the best thing you can be doing in these games. Hey, Daniel, thank you for the 19 months. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, it's like once you hit 8 mana, it's like, oh, the only cards you want to draw against anything mid-range you're controlling. Oh yeah, you rummage those X's, opponent. Goodbye. I will say one thing that's kind of awesome about Runeterra is that we're 2 for 2 on playing Freljord Noxious decks today, and the 2 decks we've played are just like completely different. Like they overlap Trapper and Omen Hawk, but that's about it, right? It's like the types of games that they play. Even within the same regions, there's so much diversity and range of play in Runeterra. It's lovely. Dimstar, thank you for the 23 months. Welcome back. I'm okay with culling an Ice Veil here. Are there any Noxious decks that wouldn't accommodate Pharaon? Yeah, the deck we played before this one didn't have any Pharaons in it. In Swain decks, he competes with Leviathan for the top end of your curve. Also, more aggressive Noxious decks frequently don't play him. So, what's his name?
They forced us to choose death.
I'm totally blanking on it. The discard aggro deck, Jinx Draven, tends to not play. Zoe Draven as well. Yeah, both those discard aggro variations.
Her flowers bring the moonlight with them.
So, Ice Veil Archer plus Culling Strike here, teaming up to kill something large. Feels good, man. Sometimes pirate aggro players are greedy and play Pharaon. It's not 100% stock, but that's definitely one that occasionally they jam it into.
When will I find peace? I've known terror and put it behind me.
I think I'm just playing Daddy Hearthguard here.
We fight for one Freljord.
This deck's got a lot of daddies in it, chat. Wow, they don't want to trade. They don't want to trade for my 5/5. That's so good for me.
The War Mother will unite us all.
The War Mother will unite us all.
We were peaceful once. You leave me no recourse.
Crunch, crunch, crunch. So we've got 10 total mana, so I can Ashe plus both of these. That's a great draw.
Death or the blade.
A chill in the
Just denying my opponent the ability to attack profitably here.
Darkness hides in your path.
All the world on one arrow.
Whatever the cost.
The time is right. Strike now.
Stay back.
Maybe I'm supposed to Culling Strike this. I can Culling Strike it next turn, though, when we attack with Ashe, right? Yeah, champions are just units to be leveraged, like anything else. Huh? I'm pretty sure we're Culling Striking this turn. I think I'm Glory Seeking too.
Blade secure the kill.
We don't need that SFW warning until we switch to Witcher 3 later.
Once. Avarosans, stand together. Face me.
Senna was not a champion in League of Legends when she was made as a card in Runeterra, I believe. How far into Witcher 3, like how much more is there? I'm at the end of the second DLC. Or we're at the beginning of the second DLC. Probably got another 10 to 15 hours. We'll probably be starting God of War next week sometime. I'm planning to finish the second DLC and mastercraft my cat school gear. We're about 50 or 55 hours into the game, I believe. I believe it's the 2018 one. Is there a link in my thing? There's not a link in there. I think the 2018 remake, I believe. It isn't a remake? Okay. Cody's the one that submitted it.
Avarosa, guide me. Now begins a new era of peace.
A new era of peace. Dude, let's do one more of this one. I'm having a good time. I like my beefcakes. Think they will make alternative versions of champions once they catch up with League of Legends like MTG does with Planeswalkers? Maybe Artisan? I could see, you know, they've talked about rotation happening in Runeterra, and something that could be really interesting to differentiate formats if they want to go there is maybe they have like two formats where the differentiation is what champions are legal in them. Like one format is only the newest version of champions and the other format is everything, where you can mix and match. Gangplank Teemo, probably a burn deck. I'm gonna mulligan these two, looking for more cheaper plays to pair with these. This is a good start. Perfect, second block. 140 champs is not happening anytime soon. I don't think that's strictly true. They're ramping up how many champions they're putting out, right? With the smaller patches. It's gonna be a couple of years, but 2 to 3 years, and we could see a lot of them in the game, I think. There's also a chance that they want to rotate before they have all the champions in the game as well, though. My educated guess for first rotation in Runeterra is early 2022.
Have a mushroom.
Because we'll get the full set of new region cards this year.
Gotcha.
Popcat Peddler implies are a little bit bigger than I was thinking. When's Fiddlesticks? I don't know what that is. I don't know what a Fiddlesticks is. Someone please help me out.
What's that you got there?
When tribe calls, a reply is proper.
To serve the greater good.
He's a scarecrow demon. Okay. Jack Skellington. Is he scarier than Nocturne? Because Nocturne's pretty spooky. It's a champion that fiddles your sticks. That is a Twitch chat description that I appreciate. So we do this, and then next turn we go 5/5, 4/2, 4/2. And then the following turn we get to drop Daddy Pharaon.
These stories were true.
And like just casually add
No ways to find me mushrooms.
A true Freljordian will.
13 power to the board here with 5 mana.
A chill in the air.
Today we fight as one.
There's only 6 buff gaps in my deck.
Would a mushroom help? I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
Not a meddler.
Excuse you.
Beg your pardon.
Nah, I think Trapper's a super appropriate power level.
I rarely forget. I never forget.
They've dealt damage to my Nexus 0 times.
Take you.
Oh, a puppet.
Perfection. Meat bags.
Meet the bags.
System upgrade.
As much as I would like to draw cards, I think we're just Daddy Pharaoning here. Pretty sure that's optimal.
Can you improve perfection? Rise, metal brethren.
Is there another region in Runeterra or in the League IP that makes sense to have deep cards?
Mushroom help?
So ordinary.
The Void Might. Okay.
Come on a musical journey.
Okay, all their things got cheaper, but like, you know.
Stand aside. An expert is at work.
Do I even want to draw cards here?
Sharpen the blade, secure.
It might be wrong, right? Because I have a bunch of mushrooms in my deck.
There was a little fella asking for me.
The ocean herself will fear us.
Does Dreadwave double mushrooms? Does that count as one of the 3 things listed on that card? It does? Okay, that's cute. I like this deck a lot. I think, if I recall correctly, this is one of the things on the Mobalytics meta tier list. This one up there these days. I thought I saw it last night when I was scrolling through. Yeah, Frost Rage, mid-range Frostbite. To the surprise of few, it looks like the original submission that we had this morning that they said they weren't attached to it, is the build that's up on Mobalytics. And I think this build of this archetype is just much better. I think not playing a bunch of Captain Pharaons is a mistake. I think not playing Omen Hawk as a cheap unit that makes your other things chunkier is a mistake. Triferian Assessor specifically tends to get much better when it gets a little bit bigger. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list. Pretty much all 3 ofs, a couple of cute 2 ofs. Reckoning being the only one of, because when this card's good, it's great, but when it's bad, it literally doesn't do anything, or it gets blown out when they kill or frostbite your 5-power thing in response. So if you're looking for a variation of Ashe Riven, I think this is an excellent deck to both play and ladder with, and I like this specific build of it a lot.